I walked away from a deal I was about to close. 6 months in, lawyer was already involved. I'd gone through the numbers more times than I can count. I was already thinking about what I'd do differently once I was running it. And then I rebuilt the math one more time, and something didn't hold. I've spent years looking at thousands of businesses, and this was exactly what you're told to buy. It looked clean, about $5 million in revenue, $1 million in EBITDA, 20% margins, stable customers, founder ready to retire. The broker called it recession-resistant, 4 times EBITDA. And honestly, nothing about that was wrong. That's what makes this kind of deal dangerous. It doesn't look risky. It looks comfortable. By that point, I was deep in it. I'd gone through the financials multiple times, talked to the seller, got comfortable with the operations, and mentally, you're already there. You start thinking, this could work. But I had this habit. Before getting fully comfortable, I'd rebuild the numbers myself. Not the broker version, just what actually lands in my pocket at the end of the year. And this is where it started to break. Not dramatically, not all at once, just piece by piece. The EBITDA was $1 million. Looks great on paper. But then you layer in debt. The purchase price was $4 million. You're borrowing roughly 3.2. At around 10%, that's about $520,000 a year in debt service. Every year. Fixed. Regardless of what the business does. So right there, before anything else, more than half your EBITDA is already gone. Then capex. Even in a services business, systems, software, infrastructure, security, call it $100,000. Conservative, and then working capital. This is the one nobody models properly. Receivables timing, payroll cycles, seasonality. Another 100 to 150,000 tied up every year. Not optional, just the cost of operating a real business. And I remember sitting there, running the numbers again, thinking I must have made an error somewhere. 1 million, minus 520, minus 100, minus 150. You're left with maybe $230,000 on an $800,000 investment, and there's no cushion. None. That's the base case. So then you do what you have to do. You stress it. Drop EBITDA 20%. Not a disaster. Not a collapse. Just a normal bad year. A customer leaves. Margins compress a little. Something shifts. It happens. EBITDA goes from $1 million to $800,000. Debt service doesn't change. Still 520. Capex doesn't change. Working capital doesn't change. 800. Minus 520. Minus 100. Minus 150. You're looking at $30,000. 30. Before taxes. Before your own salary. Before anything unexpected happens. And I remember the exact feeling of seeing that number, because up until that moment, it felt like a deal. After that, it felt like something else entirely. It felt like a bet, a highly leveraged bet, on a business I didn't control yet. And the part nobody really says out loud, that bet is attached to you, personally, through the guarantee, your name, your assets, your downside. Walking away at that point is not easy. You've spent 6 months on this. You've told people you're close. You've already started imagining yourself running it. And you're sitting there thinking, maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe I should just move forward. Saying no feels like failure. But here's what I had to accept. The business was not bad. I want to be clear about that. If someone handed it to me debt-free, I'd have been glad to own it. But the deal, the structure, the leverage, the complete absence of cushion made it fragile. And fragile plus debt, plus a personal guarantee. That's not a combination that gives you a second chance. So I walked. And now, I run the downside first. Every time. Before I get excited. Before I start imagining. Before I'm 6 months in. Because the downside case is the only version of the deal that actually tells you the truth. Saying no after 6 months of work is hard. But saying yes to a deal that falls apart in a normal bad year, that's not courage. That's hope dressed up as analysis. And that's how people end up buying the wrong business. If you want the full framework, every gate, every stress test, every number, it's in my book. It's called Don't Buy That Business. You can find it at don'tbuythatbusiness.com.